I want you to put yourself in the place of Superman in James Gunn's Superman. You've been beaten up and vilified for most of the movie. Lex Luthor has had you beaten up for most of the movie and vilified. He's aired a statement from your parents that gets you vilified in front of the whole world. And you finally get to come face to face with your ultimate nemesis. What's the first thing you say to him? I don't think it would be, "Where's the dog? It's just a dog." But even worse is to come. Let me read out to you what Superman says to Lex Luthor. Now, I'm bald, so let's imagine I'm Lex Luthor. How would I react to this statement? I'm as human as anyone. I love. I get scared. I wake up every morning, and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time, but that is being human. How would I, Lex Luthor, react to that? This is how I would react to that if I'm an evil megalomaniac. Are you joking me, mate? I don't give a shit. What are you talking about? What shit are you saying here? This dialogue is insane. I think it's the timing of the dialogue that's a bigger problem than the actual dialogue itself. He says this while he's in front of Lex Luthor, an evil megalomaniac who's been trying to kill him, get him beaten up and vilified, as I say, in front of the world. Is this the place to make this speech? It's a kind of speech, I think, that would have been more effective if he was standing in front of the whole world to see. You know, like the big speech that Superman does in front of the UN still makes the hairs at the back of my neck stand on end. Even though that film, Superman for the Quest for Peace, has many issues, that speech is beautifully written. Yeah? And the way Reeve delivers it is fucking beautiful. What's he gonna say? Something beautiful, Lois Lane says, and he certainly does. So if he says this in front of the whole world, I'm as human as anyone else. I love, I get scared, I wake up every morning. And despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time, but that is being human. If he says that in front of the whole world, I kind of get it, but saying it in front of Lex Luthor makes no fucking sense. It's this transparent piece of dialogue to show us he's just like you and me. He's an ordinary person, but he's not. He's Superman. Let's look at this dialogue piece by piece. I am as human as anyone. What? What? How are you, Superman, born on another star, on another planet? How are you as human as anyone else? Now, Superman was brought up by human beings. I explained before, it's like me. I have Greek Cypriot DNA, but I was born and bred in the UK and spent a little bit of time in LA, California, because my dad dragged us over there when he had a job in a studio, right? But mostly my mentality is British. But my DNA is Greek Cypriot. So some of you bigots may say, well, you're Greek Cypriot, you're not British. But I feel British because I was born and bred in the UK. When I speak, I sound British, not Greek Cypriot, right? That's my mentality. So Superman's mindset isn't Kryptonian, it's human. So he can feel, you know, I'm as human as anyone. He can feel as human as anyone in terms of his mentality, but physically, inside of himself, he's this all-powered, consuming God. So there's a contradiction there, isn't there? I love, I get scared, blah, blah, blah. What are you scared of? It's not like anyone can hurt you. You can be scared Emotionally, I get it. But the whole idea of this dialogue is to show us that Superman is an ordinary bloke. Is it the best of ideas, James, to have someone called Superman say, I'm as human as anyone. I love. I get scared. I wake up every morning, despite not knowing what to do. I put one foot in front of the other and try to make the best choices. And try to make the best choices I can, and I screw up all the time. But that is being human. By the way, Superman isn't a character that actually screws up. Superman doesn't really screw up in the comics and other films and TV shows we've seen him in. Now, in Smallville, he's allowed to screw up because he's a young man. He's not Superman yet. He hasn't got that experience. That's why Clark makes a lot of mistakes in Smallville. That makes sense. If young Clark Kent, played by Tom Welling, actually makes this statement, I actually get it. But I don't get a man called Superman, who, by the way, has been Superman for quite a while, talks about screwing up. Gunn looked at all the critiques and criticisms of people who have criticised Superman in the past, who are not Superman fans, who don't understand Superman, and tried to put them in this movie, tried to deal with them, like the special retracting glasses, to try and, deal with the criticism that people who don't love Superman, or even people who love Superman, think the Clark Kent disguise is shit. It's actually a genius of a disguise. Most people only see Superman from a distance. So you're not going to see him in the Daily Planet with the glasses and go, you're that guy I saw flying in the fucking sky. It's not possible. Man of Steel did the best thing. Like, for example, Lois Lane sees him as Kal-El before he actually is in the costume. She sees him. No glasses, no tripping over. She knows who he is. He can't then go back and be Superman and pretend he's not Clark Kent. And he doesn't. So what they do in Man of Steel makes absolute fucking sense. What they're doing here is trying to tell you what Gunn's trying to do, that he's an ordinary human being. Now, you can call us toxic as fans for calling this out, but who called this out first? David Coronswet himself. They released that BTS footage of Coronswet saying to Gunn, you're going to have to explain this to me, mate. I don't get it. I don't get the dialogue. I don't get what you're actually trying to do here. This is just fucking terrible. And Gunn not only does Superman dirty with this dialogue, he does David Coronswet. David Coronswet is a Juilliard fucking graduate, like Christopher Reeve was. He's a really good, capable actor. And I'm sure he assumed he was coming on board to do a special Superman movie. Maybe he thought he was going to be the next Christopher Reeve, the next Henry Cavill. And ultimately, he was done dirty. And now he's locked into a franchise, playing a version of a character he doesn't want to play. This is why I feel bad for actors, because they get locked into these contracts. And, the modern day entertainment industry is full of these fucking hacks. Anyway, I thought I would discuss that with you. Comment down below. Let me know what you think of this disastrous dialogue by James Gunn. Zack Snyder reveals on Instagram that in, I think, Justice League 2 or maybe 3, I'm not too sure, that Superman would kill Lex Luthor. Of course, this Superman has killed before in Man of Steel. He killed Zod when he didn't have a choice. Now, I don't really know the details of this because this is what Zack posted. He posted some storyboards. Don't know if you can, I don't think you can see it anyway, but yeah. He posted some storyboards. Very interesting storyboards. But apparently, and because the storyboards of the writing's very small, I can't really tell. But apparently, in these storyboards, actually, it says that Superman kills Lex Luthor. Now, I don't know if Superman kills Lex Luthor when he's under the influence of Darkseid's anti-life equation, or if he does it as an all-knowing, regular Superman. I'm not too sure. So it's very, very difficult to form an opinion of it when I don't know if he's doing it while he's under the control of Darkseid. Now, a few years back, I was under the impression that in Justice League 2 or 3, that actually it's Darkseid that kills Lex Luthor. That was the impression I had. That's what I thought Zack had actually said. But according to this, and according to those storyboards, Superman kills Lex Luthor. But as I say, I don't know if he's under Darkseid's influence when he does it or not. I'm going to make the leap that he may be under Darkseid's influence, because Lex Luthor tries to do a deal with the devil in Justice League 2 or 3. He tries to make a deal with Darkseid, which isn't the smartest thing Lex Luthor has ever done. So I was under the impression that Darkseid actually kills Lex. If Superman actually kills Lex Luthor while being under the influence of the anti-life equation, I get it. Makes sense to me, I'm fine with it. I'm not totally against it, because this is, at the end of the day, we don't know why. Or I don't know why. Get in the comments down below. Tag me on Twitter, X, at Movies TV Mad, and quote me. Quote me why. If you know why does Superman kill Lex Luthor in these storyboards? Does he do it while under the influence of Darkseid's anti-life equation, or does he do it as being Superman? Does he make a choice? Now, there's kind of a foreshadowing to this in BVS, when he says to Lex Luthor, when he catches him on the roof and he goes to him, I should tear you apart, whatever he says, but I'm just going to take you in. He says something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing here. So there's a little bit of foreshadowing of Superman being so angry with Lex Luthor that maybe he would kill him. At the end of the day, this is Zack Snyder. This is the way, his DCEU always blew. And because it's Zack Snyder, because I love the DCEU, because I love the Snyderverse, I'm more willing to accept it. But I just can't even see that even Henry Cavill's Superman would kill Lex Luthor in cold blood. So as I'm going to say, I'm going to make the assumption that actually he's under the influence of Darkseid and the anti-life equation. But a very, very interesting revelation. But this was the great thing about the Snyderverse and the DCEU. It created discourse. It created this debate. Should Superman kill or not? And I think ultimately, with a darker version of Superman, like Snyder's Superman is, it's more palatable to me to say, yeah, I'll accept it here. You wouldn't expect, Dick Donner's Superman to kill anyone, especially Lex Luthor, in cold blood. But here, it's more palatable and more acceptable. Again, the haters will be out saying, oh my God, this is the problem with Snyder. You can't be, Superman can't be killing. Look, it's a very interesting set of discourse. It's an interesting debate. And people can come, from different sides of it. Like, if I was writing Superman, in my Superman movie scripts, Superman doesn't kill. Superman wouldn't kill. It's not the way I would want to portray my Superman. But in Zack Snyder's Superman, in Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, Superman has already killed. I believe there should have been a lesson there why he should never kill again, but that's not the direction that they want to go in. Zack Snyder has always discussed that his Superman, that his DC characters are metahumans and superheroes in the real world. So it's an interesting debate. But without knowing the circumstances of why Superman kills Lex Luthor in Justice League 2 or 3, or maybe it was the original idea for the first Justice League movie, I have no idea. But I'm not going to dive in there and be ultra critical about it without knowing the actual facts of this situation. So get in the comments let me know. If you know the circumstances on why and how Superman kills Lex Luthor in Justice League, in Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 or Justice League 3, please let me know in the comments down below, or tag me on X Twitter at MoviesTVMad.